Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alfred, and this is gonna be our first episode for a program we're starting called Philosophical Guide. And today I have here with me my main man,
Adrian
Adrian,
Gutierrez.
right here, and he's gonna be my first guest for this show. And just to give a little bit of background for what Philosophical Guide is gonna be about, we're basically gonna be talking a lot about philosophy. But then we're also going to be looking into things like religion, society, and how people view truths and all of that. So without further ado, I want to just quickly give the baton to Adrian and let him tell us a little bit about his ideas on religion. So Adrian.
Okay. So basically, when I grew up,
Hmm?
what do you call it? Well, growing up, I grew up in a super strict Catholic household. So going to church every Sunday was mandatory. Doing your commandments was mandatory. What do you call it? Being baptized, against my will was mandatory. But I think that at least for me, that was a good thing in life because it led me to asking a lot of questions. I was like thinking, okay, why would a God or my God that's supposed to be merciful, the most merciful, being on the planet, send a baby to hell because he didn't get baptized, even though he willingly can't get up and walk to the church himself and then ask to get baptized? Or why would he send somebody to hell for being gay or being lesbian when they're just trying to find love? So it started making me ask questions, even though for a while I really was I used to be an altar boy, so that lets you know how religious I used to be.
Wow.
I used to be like the guy that I was younger for sure, but what do you call it? It just led me to asking questions because I do think that if God was alive today, there'd be a different version physically alive today, there'd be a different version of the Bible. And I think I really promote and I would really promote asking questions because not everything is supposed to be unquestionable, especially when it comes to religion, something that's so big, something that kind of dictates your whole life. I personally, for myself, I believe there's a higher being, but I think the higher being, I definitely don't think it's a white man, and I definitely believe it's inside me. I think that everybody makes their own commandments. Well, they should make their own commandments based off of their statutes of life and their moral compass and what they want to be when they leave behind. Like what kind of person you want to be once you die? How do you want to be remembered? And I think to me those are my commandments. It might be different for different people, but for myself, I live kind of I'm not saying that I'm like my own God, but so I don't have the God complex. I don't think if I were to walk out on the street right now and jump in front of a car, I would be okay or I'd be able to stop it. But I think that you have your own God inside you, and that God is based off of the good person that you want to be.
Well, that's actually very strong. But yeah, Adrian here telling us a little bit about how he sees religion and basically. So if I may ask you, how did you arrive to this truth? How did you? Because you were very religious, right? And now it doesn't seem like you are.
I would say I'm not very religious because I've just come to the conclusion that you gotta separate the word religion and God. You can't really categorize them as the same one because God, whatever it is, a he, she, dog, her, white man, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is to your religion, is supposed to be a being that's perfect because everything's supposed to happen for a reason, whether it's the universe as well. But something like religion is man-made, and humans are prone to imperfections, as everyone can see.
Yeah.
So religion being something that's man-made and can be imperfect, is not something that you have to trust blindly. At least personally for me, because if you have faith in something, it's believing without seeing. But if I believe something without seeing it and it's not perfect, that's too much of a big risk for me to take.
See, that is actually very interesting. So, what about those who are not religious or are not spiritual, like you?
I would still say when I started with religion, I thought that it had good ground rules. I think every good major religion, like three major religions like Islam, Christianity and what do you call it, Judaism, they all have like good. They all set a good moral compass for people who are like who are young. Like stuff like being good to other people, paying it forward, treating people the way you'd want to be treated. You know, not running away from your truth, not stealing. You know, unless it's from big corporations.
Yeah.
Whatchamacallit, it all kind of
Jeez.
yeah, it all kind of instilled like good ground rules to be a good person. Though I don't think you need religion to be a good person, because where do morals really come from? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I do think that it's a good thing that you if you follow religion, I don't discourage it, because it'll teach you how to be a good person. But then again, there's people that, you know, are really religious but are terrible people. Catholic priests.
I'll tell you this about morals. I mean, Socrates once noted that, you know, morals are like virtues, and virtues are inborn. You know, before you are born, you have them. So when you're doing stuff that you feel like is good, deep within you feel is good. And when you're doing stuff and you feel is bad, deep within you feel is bad. But nobody gets to decide what is good and what is bad for people.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, even though like you were saying, religion, well, I was talking to a dude and he was telling me that, I don't, you know, religion is just there to control people and tell people what is supposed to be good and what is supposed to be bad. So just so to keep the majority of people in a, you know, one single line, and then they're like, do this, do that, and then they just do it because it's supposedly good. But I don't know about much of that, because, you know, most often now we are living in a society where it's very difficult to break free and become one with your own self. And the issue is, as soon as you try to break free, you run from society and you jump into religion.
Yeah.
So it's like these two things are working together hand in hand, and it's like, how do I run away from these two, you know, people or things or whatever it is? Like, and it's
kind of seems like the two things that are supposed to help you be aligned with yourself are kind of like
working together
against you.
It is interesting.
At the end of the day, you gotta be your own person, because I see why people. That's why it's important to ask questions. I see why people could drift away from religion, because, you know, there's a lot of, I would say, prophets, but it'd be more like self-proclaimed prophets that say, you know, the end is near, end is coming. What do you call it? But the end has been near for over 2,000 years. You know. So when is the end gonna actually come? I mean, not saying that. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of reasons to doubt, because not everyone's gonna believe the same thing they do. But then you also gotta look at it from another like standpoint, and that's where neutrality, which you taught me, is really important, because you gotta take in, you know, different aspects. Like, these people have you know, they're a product of their own environment, so they grew up their whole life believing that this was the truth, and they learned it from people that, you know, they admired, they people that like taught them, and that's what they grew up believing. And to get them out of that habit or that pattern, like, very difficult. I don't think you're ever gonna do it, because.
Well, I mean, isn't that the whole thing about these kind of things? You know, so you have a thing that you keep doing and doing and doing, and you do that for 2 weeks, and then it becomes a habit. You keep doing it for a year, it becomes
bigger habit.
Not even habit. What do you even call it? A personality.
Yeah.
And then you keep doing it for a while, it becomes a temperament, and then now you're stuck with it. And now I guess that's what religion has, you know, taught people, trained them to have like this kind of thinking where it's like, it's either you're for God, you're against God, and then that's it about it, you know. But we have different forms of religious beliefs. You know, we have pluralism, we have inclusivism, we have exclusivism,
universalism.
Yeah, and I mean those are like all ways of seeing religion. And sometimes it's very difficult to try and get people to understand what the pluralism is talking about. It's talking about, like, you know, God being so huge that you have different forms of religion, but at the end of the day, like you were saying, they all sum up to one single thing. Like, they all sum up to God, but it's like a Muslim, if God is as big as an elephant and we're all like ants, probably some few ants, which are like Christians, are filling the trunk, so it's hard. You know, so they're feeling something different from God. Muslims are also feeling something different because they're touching the tail of that elephant. So it's like we're all touching different aspects of God, but then at the same time, God is so huge that we are touching the same God. And, you know, that's how come probably you have a lot of religious groups all around, and, you know, That's why, many a time people advise you to just be neutral about it. Try to understand rather than to judge.
Yeah.
Because you never know. But isn't that a thing about many religious things right now? Like right now, if you look at some jihadist group, which are like, from the Islamic people, they're killing people because people don't want to be Muslims. And that's kind of sad because it's like
Really sad.
trying to get me to do something that I don't feel like I believe in or I want to be a part of. And that's what many religious people are doing right now. And that's what's causing a lot of people to actually leave religion.
It. I mean,
so that's why I
if
asked
something is forced down your throat, you're just not gonna want it. Naturally,
exactly. That's why I asked you.
As humans, it's kind of like you want what you can't have, and once you know that you have it, you're kind of prone to pushing it away. And it's not really necessarily a bad thing because, you feel what you don't know, and if you don't know it and you gotta follow it, it's like you're walking blind. I think like you should live your life trying to be a good person, with the idea that if you die, you might go to hell if you don't live. But then again, it's like, why would you want to live your whole life feeling like you gotta believe just in case if you do die, you end up going to heaven.
Well,
I just feel like at the end of the day, the answer to that question would just be being a good person, like not doing it selfishly, because when you do a favor, you do it selflessly, because I'm not gonna let you borrow money with the expectations of me having to borrow money in the future. I'm gonna let you borrow money because you're my homie and you'll pay me back, or I'm not gonna let you borrow like milk for the same reason,
But everybody needs milk though.
Everybody needs milk. Cow juice.
The antibodies in the milk. You need it.
The best milk is cow juice, and that's final. But
cow juice. What about people's
people who are vegan? Nah, man, cow juice is still.
Cow juice is still the ish.
Yeah, cow juice is still the ish.
Hey, you heard him, guys. You heard him.
So yeah, like I said, if God was alive today, I feel like there'd be a different version of the Bible for sure.
So God is dead now?
Nah.
God is dead?
He's not dead. I said if he was physically alive.
How physically? So he's spiritually alive?
I do think he's physically dead, yeah.
But not spiritually dead?
No, not spiritually dead. I mean, whatever God, again, I don't know, because to me, I don't even know what God would be to me. Would God be the universe? Would God be he or she? It, dog. I wish it was a dog, but
interesting.
At the end of the day.
Oh yeah, finish.
I forgot what I was gonna get to. Losing my train of thought.
Well, just to talk a little bit. So I was asking a few people, what they think about God, and one person was like, God is a reflection of ego, and religion is a guideline. The self is being aware of the energy give out. So another person also said that we are all gods. And then another person also said that religion is just a fantasy. And also another person said that I feel religion is just a way to control people, how they think and what they believe. The Jesus people are thought about to believe in is just mind control. I believe in the instincts we have, the gut that tells you something is right, and almost always it is right. I believe the universe communicates to us in many ways, and thus how you feel about everything. You only need to listen. And lastly, one person said, I think God is like chakra or energy, a source of energy that drives us inside of us. So you see, right now, this is just one thing, one concept we are talking about, and look at all the different ideas about it. And so if one person should get up from these people and say that BS is absolute, then we have a problem, don't you think so? Because that's where the value neutrality is lost, because when you technically look at these definitions, you realize they're all talking about almost the same thing.
Yeah.
They all don't believe that God is a being sitting somewhere, but they believe that there's power somewhere, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you only need listen, as one said, the other said, energy within us and all of that. And I think probably you might maybe align to the energy part.
Yeah.
God is an energy maybe inside of us, driving us, all things around us.
I think to me that makes the most sense, that God is like an energy inside of us, not really, again, a white man. But whatchamacallit, I think everybody's their own commandments, but everyone goes their own summit.
True.
Kind of like you said about the elephant. I don't think that God's gonna send me to hell because God's supposed to be hypothetically, a Jew. Or I don't think it's gonna be vice versa. God's gonna send a Jew to hell if he's Catholic just because he's Jew. But if at the end of the day, if that person is like a good person, there's no reason to send that person to hell. And that's another reason why people could be like, okay, like what they could. Those are kind of questions that I understand why people would be like, all right, what's something fishy here,
So I mean, then basically to summarize everything up, what I hear you say is
neutrality.
It's best to stay neutral, and it's best to in a way look within your own self to find answers, because you have all these crazy superficial things going on. You don't know what is going on, and what you want to do is you want to know. So because you want to know, you join a religious group so that they can teach you what they think is right. But then that's where you get to the point where you realize that there are different truths all around. These truths are all contingent truths, right? So which are truths that can be true for me and can be false for you. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong and you are right, or you are right and I'm wrong. For example, based on the angle where you're sitting, or based on the perspective you have about that light, look at where I'm sitting right now. I don't see it that white, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you sitting over there probably see the other side of it. Does that mean that I'm wrong for seeing it as black? Maybe?
No, but it doesn't mean you're right.
That's the whole point. That's the kind of thing we are living in right now, the kind of truth we have. But people try to overcome that and say that what they know or what they believe in is absolute.
It's always absolutely right.
And that's what religion is. It's trying to establish, most religions actually establish the fact that yes is the right one.
And I think that's why it's so important to practice that neutrality. Like when you're gonna buy a product, or when I bought the camera to film this, I didn't, just wake up one day, go to Best Buy, and be like, all right, this is the one that I want.
Oh, I would do that. I'm kidding.
See, if you did do that, you'd probably end up with a shitty camera. You'd end up with a camera that
my camera doesn't work.
That was more expensive, that more, had more features than you needed, or not enough features.
Right.
So that's why
iPhone 11.
That's why I would say religion would be a lot like, it's a lot like doing your YouTube research. When you're gonna buy a product, you don't just go based off of the first thing you read. You go through reviews. You go through you see what style people use for this certain type of product. You you touch up on it. You ask around. You network, and that's why you were saying universalism. It's such a good idea or ideology to keep in your head, because you get a piece of the cake everywhere. You can get ideas from Hindus. You can ideas from Buddhism, ideas from Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever it is, but at least, you're getting ideas from everybody to become the ultimate person, a stronger opinion. Because, even like Mahatma Gandhi wasn't, he wasn't just Hindu, he was Christian, Hindu, Jewish.
And he was the whole cake, huh?
Yeah, he was the whole cake.
Wow.
And
did he come with tea?
No. The British came with the tea. But but this guy, he was obviously a good person. Let me rephrase that. I don't know if he was a good person. I didn't know him personally.
Oh wow! See, he's already learning from this show.
But
he's rephrasing.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I guess he was a smart person.
Well, then that also teaches you guys the idea that if you don't know, don't say you know. That's one thing. I was speaking to a man, I don't know if I was telling you, but he was like, that's the thing with religious people. I'm not religious, but then at the same time, when I'm asking them and they don't know, they want to try and tell me that they know, and that's what even causes more and more misunderstanding in my mind, and that's what even causes me to hate them more. And I was like, oh no, hate is such a strong word, but I guess I see your point.
Drift apart from it.
Yeah, if I don't know, I don't know. Let's go find the answers together. Yeah. That's what I do. Sometimes I wake up and then I just go around and I just ask people questions, because I'm not trying to annoy them. I'm just trying to find answers to something that I'm thinking about. They tell me I'm crazy, maybe, but I do it, and then I come home and then I feel fulfilled. I'm like, ooh, today has been a good day.
Summer of all junior year, I would just go around, my neighborhood, and I would just buy people, or I would not buy people, I would buy homeless people, food, and just talk to them. Sometimes.
And they also have
intellect
too.
Yeah. what do you call it? You'd meet people that were like on speed, and that was probably like the best hug I've ever had in my life. That's just crazy. But so I don't think you're crazy for that. But
thank you. I appreciate that.
But some doesn't mean I'm right.
It doesn't mean you're right. That's
No.
definitely true. But I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to end this all in one, fell swoop.
Yeah.
Well, you still want to read it? Okay, there's a poem here, and then I just wanted to leave you guys with this poem. Did you already write it down?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So, this is the poem. It's called A Heretic's Truth, and it goes like this. Only a pompous fool sees palpable facts and still chooses to align his or herself with the majority. All answers lie within one's own self and are what many fail to see. I, for one, am a minority because I do not conform to society and I own it. I am proud of this, for does this not make me the sui generis breed amongst us all? Yes, that is what makes me the idiosyncratic monk amongst a breeding herd. A herd that follows oblivious shepherds presenting themselves as leaders in our world due to the fallible and illusionary power society and religion grant. I am my own. I am a self, not selves. I will be unique and follow my own laws. To follow the laws within the self is to be one with other selves. This is what makes me the heretic of my own time. And I think the Chinese monk once said that, knowing others is knowledge, but then knowing yourself is enlightenment.
And it's true, because everybody wants liberation.
Yeah, so, you guys should, try and
I
ask
guess
questions upon questions.
asking questions will lead to like liberation. At the end of the day, like I think like the way Buddhist thinks, once you're ready to die and you find you're not ready to die until you find, or you shouldn't be ready to die until you find liberation. You know?
Yeah, okay, I get it.
You feel a lot more comfortable dying knowing that you got the answers to everything that you wanted, or you're comfortable knowing the answers to everything that you wanted to know.
I mean, have you ever thought about it?
Or not knowing.
Have you thought about it? Like you're walking and you just get this thought. Like where do thoughts come from?
I think you're born with those for sure.